Shouts out BigSteve.
What's up? What's up? Big Brand MMA special Octagon edition. We have UFC this week, but I thought, why do it? Cards rubbish. Not really pumped to talk about a lot of those fights. And yeah, my podcast, my rules. Let's do Octagon instead. One of my favorite European promotions. And there's usually a really off line on Octagon and on KSW. It seems like the bookies haven't caught up as much as they've caught up in the UFC these days. So why not? I just feel like talking about this card. It's a lot more higher level than the UFC one. So let's get into it, shall we? If you want to see my recap, it's in the early teas, start of the week. Have a little sus. If not, we'll just get straight into this, shall we? Let me just my boy Pepe. What's up, Pepe? Nice haircut. Thank you very much. I'm liking it. It turned out well this time around. Alrighty, let's get into it, shall we? So first fight. We have Deniz Ilbay versus Michael Deiga-Scheck, however you pronounce that. So yeah, interesting one. This one. Ilbay, a big favorite again, plus minus 200. Both these guys are strikers. It's always tempting to fade Ilbay because he was submitted by Corey Fry, who I don't really rate that well, and he's kind of losing until he wins. He's a huge ape, and he just comes back and wins. He's fighting a lot of these guys that he can break. He was losing to this Deniz guy, they knocked him out. He was actually beating Fry, and then he got submitted, armbarred. But yeah, the Sheik guy, 38 years of age, he's quite a good striker himself. He seems to have a death touch with his teep. He hurt Vladimir Lengal with a teep to the body, then got knocked out. He's been submitted a bunch. He's been KO'd a bunch. I was tempted on the dog personally. He had a special custom rules fight against Racic Rushal. Rushal, also a kickboxer, and he's transitioned well into Octagon. He's fighting. It feels like he's fighting every 2 weeks. And he beat the shit out of him in the first 2 rounds. I think it was basically stand up. And then he kind of slowed down, and that was back in 2022. Now it's 2024. He's 38. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even if he's winning, Deniz might be the more durable, less old guy. He's not even 30. So it's one of those. It feels like a trap. I feel like Sheik needs a KO, potentially. But maybe I'm wrong. I know some people in the Discord were tempted on him. But yeah, I guess it's a dog or pass. It's a dog or pass for sure, but you have to get in on a 38-year-old washed chinny striker. Alrighty. Hafeni Nafuka versus Arijan Topallaj. Great fight. This is one fight that I have not done a lick of tape, but I know Topallaj. I bet him back to back. Both times as a huge underdog against Palasz, and then against Rashali. Rashali was an easier bet because he's a chinny kickboxer. Palasz, hard to finish, and he had a decision upside. But yeah, he got Anaconda choked in round 1. Topallaj good everywhere. Good on the feet. Good jiu-jitsu, really good front chokes. We haven't seen him outside of round 1 other than one fight, which was a draw, and he kind of slowed down there back in 2021. So there's that aura of unknown, which is why, I can't really play anything here. Can he finish old mate Nafuka? Maybe. Nafuka is a grappler. He's good grappling background, supposedly. Haven't looked into it, but, submitted a bunch of bums. He went to a decision with this other bum, Iman. And yeah, they gave him Predrag, my boy from Serbia, and honestly, he took down Predrag and took his back in every round, and then Bogdanovic just reversed and got on top, and he won the end of the round every single time. So it's a bit of a meme result, honestly, but he showed he was a bit green in that fight. Came back and then he got another round 1 submission. Super volatile fight. Bit of money came in on Nafuka, so I'll tape it. But he shouldn't get round 1 subbed by Topallaj, that's for sure. He should be at a striking disadvantage, but who has the better cardio? That's up in the air. Neither has really been extended much. Both have kind of looked sus when they have been extended. So yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one, but from a betting perspective, what can I say? All right, Pavol Langa versus Will Fleury. What a fight this is. This Langer guy is like he's like a Homer Simpson, but he's just the worst Homer Simpson ever. He doesn't have any good traits of a Homer Simpson. His cardio is not good. His chin is bad. He's chinny, but he just has mythical powers. He has mythical powers. I don't know how the hell he beat Alexander Popek. I mean, I do know it was a 5 round. That's why. Rafael Xavier. Xavier just went to a split decision with what's his name? That massive pom guy on PFL, who's also overrated. He went to split decision with him. I don't know how the hell Xavier didn't knock out Langer. Yeah, just these weird fights. You know, Ducis was just mauling him, and then he kind of knocked him out. Ducis is a bum, and obviously got knocked out by Vimola in 7 seconds, which is hilarious. But yeah, he just has his mythical powers. You know, he's a grinder and he's chinny and he's not the best wrestler. That's not the best cardio, but he just wins. People don't throw much against him, and he just squeaks it out. They make one mistake, he capitalizes, and he gets a split decision. Right, Will Fleury. Now, I know some people are parlaying him. He should be a level better than Langer, but it's a grapple fight, back and forth grapple fight. Both guys are grinders. Will Fleury is not some amazing, fighter himself. He usually grinds to decisions. Not the best level of competition. Went to a split with Jotko and out grappled him, but he was on all the roids, popped for that, and that was a split decision as well. Jotko's a middleweight. Langer is a proper light heavyweight. So I guess I would favor Fleury, but I mean it's such a hard fight to be confident in. I really like his path here. What is he going to maul Langer for 3 rounds? That's live. It's live. I definitely favor him, but yeah, I don't know. Langer is a perfect live bet kind of fighter, but I didn't want to say dog or pass though because can't bet on this guy Langer, man. I'm tempted though. Fleury, Fleury, even his fight against Salmon, didn't grapple for 3 rounds, grappled in round 3, but Salmon is like one of the worst to ever do it. Yeah, let's move on. All right, Mochamed Machaev versus James Hendin. This is probably the highest level fight of the entire weekend. Close. I know some people say Tyra versus Royval, but in the UFC, but Royval is such a bum that he kind of ruins that level of that fight. But Machaev, Hendin, both should be in the UFC. Both could be in the UFC tomorrow. I remember when Cage Warriors was the prime organization on the regionals, and whenever there was no UFC, there would be Cage Warriors, and I could give all my time to taping that entire card. And Hendin was a beast back then. What was he, like 21, 22? And I'm like, man, this guy's going into the UFC. And here he is in OKTAGON, right? Only 26 years of age, but it's never too late. We'll see. Judo background, really physical wrestler, good back taker, good rear naked choke. Kind of lost to the best guys in Cage Warriors, Jordan Vucenic and Paul Hughes twice. And but he's still growing, he's still improving. Striking serviceable, good calf kick. Other than that, he doesn't really strike for too long. He wants to grapple. Machaev on the other side, also a grappler, but I think his striking is a little bit better. He's got a bit more volume. He's more bouncy on the feet. He's scrappy. I like his takedown defense. Like he can be taken down. Obviously, he was taken down by Makwan Amikani at lightweight. He's had those 2 fights at lightweight back-to-back against Makwan and Akwad Dukan because he wanted to be part of the tournament. But now he's down at his natural weight class at featherweight. I feel like some of this money coming in on Hendon might be because of those 2 fights. Losing to Duque is not the best look. Duque is a traditional grinder, well known on the regional scene. He's a bit chinny. We just saw Ronnie run through him, but he'll win these fights. If you don't get him out of there, he will beat you. And he won a 29-28, a competitive 29-28 against Machaev. He looked a whole weight class bigger, maybe even 2 weight classes bigger than Machaev. So Machaev couldn't hurt him. There was not much grappling, and he just edged it. So I don't know. I don't have a passionate take. I know a lot of the boys were on Hendon and at barely plus money, and this line has now moved more towards Pick'em. But honestly, I'm leaning Machaev more. Just because I feel he's more active on the feet. He can do well to stuff the takedowns, negate the grappling. He might be a little bit chinny, but yeah, I don't know if Hendon will be the one to expose that. It just ultimately, from a betting perspective, it feels like a close competitive fight. But I have a feeling, gut says Machaev maybe round 3 rear naked choke. That's how I'm feeling. It just as a more scrappy guy. Hendon's been backpacked before. Paul Hughes took his back. Vucenic submitted him. But yeah, I'm not really good fight, but I don't know if I have an edge from betting perspective personally. Here we go. We finally got some comments. Dogfather scenes. There we go. I knew one of you boys was gonna fill in the name. Pal robbery apparently. Interesting. Pal is just the worst. Absolute overrated bum. Pepe likes Hendin. Some bums deemed him to moderate favorite, so I can't play him. I mean, he's a popular play. Not a lot of boys on him. How do you see this playing out, Pepe, in a decision? Like, there's just not many fights where Hendin is standing for an extended amount in a 3-round decision. Wow, that was a really roundabout way of me saying that. Like he's usually getting grappler success, and if he's not really covering. So, do we think he's going to grapple Machaev? Like his tape says that he's a good anti-grappler, good scrambler. But yeah, Paul McBain, he was getting lit up against Paul McBain. Then he took his back, submitted him. This Maragayan fight, useless. Tobias Harila, useless fight. Harila is on a downwards trajectory. He's always had a ton of holes in his game. No, let's move on. Katharina, Dalisda, Mallory, Martin. I touched on this fight a little bit in the early teas. In the 4 before, Dalisda beat it 30-27, dropped it twice in round 1, dropped it once in round 2. It was more competitive in round 3, but she still won. Mallory Martin, always been hittable, never addressed that striking defense. Can she do something different here? I'm not sure. Dalisda is in Germany again, her hometown. She's beat some high-level girls, Jacinta Austin. We all know her. One of the better regional girls. We should see her on Contender Series at worst, at least. And then beat Eva Durth twice. Durth, someone that will grapple like Mallory Martin. Lost to Danny McCormack. Again, not the worst look. McCormack now in the UFC, despite her flaws. So I don't know. I guess, Dalisda should be a big favorite. Surprised it's not more juiced. I guess the bookies are giving Mallory Martin some credence, beating Shromova and Anita Bekis, and then adding another title shot. Although I bet Shromova, she was a big size underdog, and that was a split decision, but I don't think that was a split decision. I thought Martin clearly won, or was winning 2-0, but she almost got subbed in round 3. So, she's been subbed a lot for a grappler. Poliana Viana subbed her, Verna Gentarova subbed her, sure, whatever. That's not the worst case, end of the world, but, Verna doesn't sub a lot of girls recently. Angela Hill, Mariana Rodriguez. So, almost got knocked out by Hannah Cyphers. So, yeah, this is Dalisda's fight to lose. But she is improving, Mallory Martin. She was going to retire after the Shromova fight. And then I did not expect her to outstrike Anita Bekis like that for 3 rounds. So, what is she now, 30? Wow, she's young. She's young. She really got cut from the UFC at an early age. It's a shame for her. Yeah, she's making improvements. Yeah, it's Dalisda. She should be the favorite. Max Holzer versus M. Trabelsi. I mean, yeah, whatever. Holzer, massive favorite. He's a gun. He's 22 years of age. UFC bound. He already beat a high-level guy in Luster in a split decision. A guy that is now beating cans in PFL. Where's he at? Alexander Luster, really good grappler. Let me see what his record is now. 9-1. Yeah. 9-1, only lost to Max Holzer. So, he's been tested. And this Trabelsi guy is a bad grappler. So, I mean, Holzer should be able to take advantage of that. He's a bit of a brute. He blocks punches with his face. So there's always that kind of risk as a huge favorite. But, I mean, it's his fight to lose. If you're into juicy parlays, that's the one. But I think those kind of parlays are better on Cage Warriors when they give absolute cab drivers to prospects. Alrighty. Lazar Todev versus Adam Palasz. So this guy's fought. I mentioned this fight on the early teas as something I was going to look into first. Todev is an underdog despite already being Palasz. Watched the fight and, beat him 29-28. Really, really competitive. Lost round 1 clear. Palasz was just a slightly better, cleaner striker. Then Todev ended up landing a spinning back elbow, cut him open. That sealed him round 2. And then round 3 was, again, super competitive. And he kind of just stole it with a couple of big punches at the end. Obviously, Palasz, after getting cut, he got a bit more sloppy. Got a little bit more open to strikes and gassy. But yeah, right after that, I kind of forced myself to play him against Hatef Moel. And, I feel like that was a robbery, but the whole time I just screaming at the TV, Lazar, throw something, man. Like, you got to throw one strike. So he allowed a guy that's nowhere near his striking level to beat him in a 5-rounder just because he threw more. So he hasn't really done it. He hasn't really addressed that. He fought this Comi dos Santos bum 6-5. Again, super low output round 1, and then he knocks him out in round 2. So, after tape, I wasn't as strongly convicted, about Todev. Maybe it's lined accurately. It probably should be pick him. Probably should be an underdog because he actually beat him and he's younger and, he's probably trending upwards. Adam Palasz, he lost to Stuart Austin by finish. So that alone is red flag. That alone is red flag. And he's been finished pretty much most of the times that he's lost. He gives me some flaky vibes, whereas Lazar is a good fighter. He actually gives me good vibes. It's just the low volume, So, it's Lazar will pass, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I'm forcing it. We'll see. Pepe, more interested in the dog. Let's go. I'm also considering Machaev. It's good that we agree there. What do we got next? Another high level fight. Another high level fight here. I wish the UFC could say this on their card, fight after fight. Niko Samsonidse versus Daniel Torres. Daniel Torres, third or fourth fight in OKTAGON now. Very active. He's been a bit washed for a hot minute now, in my opinion. Since KSW, he's not the same guy. And they're giving him Niko. Niko just fought for the title against Keita. Decent fighter, but I said this minus money line might be a good line, just because of Torres' wear and tear and whatnot, and how high level Niko is. But then I watched this fight with Trabelsi, who I just mentioned. Max Holzer should run through, and yeah, he got really dropped quite easily with the spinning back fist that kind of just touched him, and then he broke his shin bone from a check leg kick. And yeah, that's all I taped. I remember I taped him before for the last Keita fight, and I'm just like, okay, this guy gives me a bit fragile vibes. Like, he's fragile, could be chinny. He's he's fighting a guy, Daniel Torres, who might be a little bit washed, but he's gonna throw down. He still cracks. He hurt Langol, and he can still crack. That's the main thing. So I have to look into it some more. Niko is now gone to minus 200. I will say Niko is definitely not Ronald Paradisa. Ronnie, that's for sure. Ronnie kind of styled on Torres, but this is a different kind of fight. So I'm not going to say dog a pass or favor a pass either way, but let's move on. One that I have to look into more. Because I spend so much time on freaking Machaev versus Hendin, and I spent a lot of time on Ilbay versus Deiga-Scheck. There's some of these other fights that didn't get as much attention as they should have. So, but we'll get there. Max Coga versus Antun Racic rematch. As I mentioned, someone told me on the early tease that they fought already. I went and looked at it years ago. Both fighters were extremely young, and they still fight the same way there. I will say that. And Racic was up 2-0, and then he got rear naked choked in round 2. And well, he was on the way to being 2-0 up. But he was kind of slowing down. He was wrestling him. He was kind of slowing down. He put himself in a couple of guillotines and he escaped. Obviously, we'll see that later on in his career. He was guillotined for the KSW title as well. And I guess that's how the fight's going to go again. Max Coga can be taken down. He does play the guard a lot. Coga is actually older than Racic, which is interesting. And Koga's been knocked out before by Jaron Arnold's one punch. But he's a grappler as well. I watched this fight with Trabelsi, who we just mentioned. Just took him down, mauled him. So I have this sneaky suspicion that obviously Racic is a little bit washed. He is an ex-KSW champ. He's been submitted before, long before in his career, by this Ragimov guy. And his run is not the best, Split decision to Politolo. He beat Sebi. He's a really good fighter. He's probably he's number one contender now in KSW. This De Oliveira guy, not the greatest. He got out-grappled by Jujua. Jujua's really good. Not really good, but he's decent enough. Fought for the KSW title against the Polish Charles Oliveira that submitted Racic, and he did well, did better than the odds suggested. I still lost though, so yeah, I need to I need to go and reevaluate just how washed Racic is. But otherwise, if this plays out the same way, he's going to be hitting takedowns and he's going to be winning minutes. He's going to be winning minutes. But he pulled out twice. He pulled out in July due to injury against Jonas Magard. And then he pulled out against Jack Cartwright, which probably would have been an easy win for him. I'm pretty sure I had him there as a plus money underdog. And then he pulled out. So now he's moving up to lightweight. Well, that can't be right. He's moving up from bantamweight to lightweight. What the hell? Someone tell me if that's wrong. So the first time they fought, that must have been a lightweight too. It was a featherweight. Well, there you go. Where does Coga usually fight? Coga usually fights at lightweight, catchweight, featherweight, lightweight. Right. So he kind of bounces between the two. He was knocked out by Jono Aarons at featherweight. Yeah, right. So they're both kind of moving up. But yeah, man, Racic is moving up 2 weight classes. Interesting. It's still a dogger pass for me. But if Racic is watched, I'm not really interested in donating. Alrighty, some great 5-round fights to end this decent enough card. Let me see if do I have any comments? Jake agrees with me. Racic is a good dog. What are your thoughts on him moving up 2 weight classes, Jake? What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the fact that he might be washed and he keeps getting injured? But let me know. Let me know. Pepe Silva, that feels like your kind of dog. You know, someone with so much grappling upside. You usually steer into that volatility and you wouldn't care. Let me know. Or let me know privately. I know you don't want the limits to get ruined. But we've got to have the abundance mindset, lads. There's plenty of money for everyone. Even if someone ruins their lines with their $100 units, you know, we've got to believe there's plenty of money for everyone. Jake just gives me a smile. Okay, that's bullish. Very bullish. Alrighty. So, Patrik Kinsel versus Karim Deiga-Scheck. That's probably pronounced wrong because it's Turkish. Yeah, good fight. A bit of money's coming on a Karim. You know, probably one of the biggest line moves so far. It was plus 160 at one point. Now it's plus 130 on Bet365. Let me check now. Plus 110. Wow. Lots of movement. Might have missed the boat myself, actually. But it's kind of bouncing up and down on... it's bouncing up and down on Bet Online. So maybe we can get in the thing. But I get it. You know, he's... Karim passes the eye test. Great striker. A lot of knockouts. You know, nice little juicy record. 20-4. But here's another reason why I didn't tape the whole card. Because I taped his entire career just to see his bottom game. And... you know, there's the fight against David Zawada back in 2012. Whatever, that's kind of useless. He was rear naked choked by Yasin Ayari, who was in the UFC. Again, 2012, 12 years ago, useless. You can go from white belt to black belt in 12 years. And even more than that. Can't fight the Rafael Leveron fight, which is his other decision loss. So yeah, that's all I have. And then it's just him beating guys and looking decent enough on the feet. And actually looking decent enough with his takedowns and taking other people down. And the rest is just bums. It's just bums and he's running through them accordingly as he should. But yeah, you know, even with those questions, you know, I understand the poke on him because, you know, Patrik Kinsel, he's 35 years old. He's also kind of reaching his end. He's starting to look a little bit washed himself. He's been, you know, one of the best guys in the regionals, honestly. He was a KSW champion. And he fought for the KSW title against Robert Soldic, and he got knocked out in round 3. But he won round 2 against him. You know, he seems to have good durability. I don't think he's ever been knocked out other than that. Maybe there's a bunch of losses back in 2007. I can't see on Topallaj, but I mean, a long, you know, streak against Polish Mike Tyson. You know, mauled him, didn't get knocked out. Took 3 rounds for Roberto Soldic to knock him out. So. It's a good fight. But it's like, how does Deiga-Scheck Karim look on his back? If he doesn't knock out Kinsel, it's a 5-rounder. I did notice from Karim he kind of slows down. slows down in there. Can he knock out someone good? Maybe. I don't know. This Racic guy, he went to a decision. It's one of those, man. It's one of those. It's a dog or pass just because, they don't really want to lay the juice or chalk on someone like Kinsel who could just fall apart. He did look really bad against Piotr Wawriniak. And then he just came, I don't know, he came back in an arm triangle choked him. Wawriniak kind of fell apart there, and I haven't really seen that from Wawriniak in any fights. He's a gritty, durable guy. We all bet him against Chepo just because of the ground. And that was short notice, and he came back and he showed heart. Then against Kinsel, he just fell apart. So, and then he beat, Andrei Michailidis, who's a good fighter. So it's weird, interesting, very interesting what happened to him in that fight. There's an air of uncertainty about this fight for me, but and I missed the line by a lot. So I don't know. I need to do some deep takes. Pepe, we've been lined up a lot lately, Steve. Cavalcanti, Lucinda, Tisha, now Tyra. Correct. I mean, we've been wrong before, but if we're both confident and we line up, like, come on. It's one of those ones where I don't feel there's some sharps out there where if I line up with them, I have a bad feeling, like we mush each other. I don't know. Myself and Pepe have been good. Hit me up in the private, Pepe. What's you got any other lock? Or maybe not in private. If the line's already gone, let me know in the chat. See if I can tell you on something else. Or see if something's on my mind and I can add it to the slate. Also, I will say, Tyra, Lucindo, Torres, they're just bets that I'm feeling, I've seen straight away and without any tape, I've locked them in. So, and I haven't been feeling about that for months. So I think it's just the way, I think it's that time of the year. There's good favorites coming up that I'm confident in. So I think, just that time of the year. I haven't had proper favorite bet in a while. Corey McKenna, interesting. I was looking into that one. Interesting. I have to tape it. UFC has been on the back burner. If anything, Corey McKenna by decision for me, always. Alrighty, another main event, right? The reason this card is called Bigger Than Ever. Christian Ekeling versus Christian Jungwirth, two Germans fighting for the title in Germany. And Christian Ekeling is almost minus 200. They're both 37 years of age. Seems like an extremely, extremely messy, volatile fight. I do agree Ekeling should be the favorite. I parlayed him against Miroslav Broz in his last fight in Germany. It was Broz's retirement fight. Broz is just the worst. He was live to get knocked out really quickly. He's a punching bag. Ekeling, fought really patient, really disciplined, ran through him in rounds 2. But this man can be broken. He lost to Leandro Silva, decent enough fighter. Took a nice shot to Neves and, won it out of there. And then they rematched again and he beat him with the rear naked choke. Submitted John Paleoglos, a guy that's actually common component of Jungwirth, and Jungwirth fought him recently. He got dropped twice by him, and he got kimura'd by him a year ago. So, I don't know, but just the fact that Christian likes to proactively grapple really hard, and he's an absolute ape, I can't really lay the juice on chalk on Ekeling. I think this is a much tougher fight than Broz. Jungwirth is weird. Like, he kind of looks washed, but not really. He's still fighting for your money. Just these really old apes, they still have a bit in the tank. And, does Christian Ekeling win this? How does this fight look if it extends? They both have sus cardio. This is just like a shit show fight. It's a dog or pass for me. And even in his losses, Jungwirth kind of looks competitive. He was about to get rear naked choked by Velichkovic. He toughed it out. He beat this Robert Puskach guy over 5 rounds. Pukac. Yeah, just a weird fight, man. Weird fight. Bunch of wash bummy guys, near the end of this card, but still high level, man. We're getting 2 5-round title fights. Kinsel versus Karim, really high level. Racic, Coga, probably the best, regional grinders out there. One's the next KSW champ. Siko, Samsonidse, Torres. Great fights, man. I reckon. Let me go on a limb here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I reckon there's 13 guys that could be in the UFC. That's like more than 50% of the fighters on this card could be in the UFC. And some of them are in their prime. Some of them are not even in their prime yet. So, good card. All right, in terms of the overview, let's go through it. So, Deniz versus Sheikh, yeah, just a striking fight, volatile striking fight. 138, so I guess I lean Ilbay. Nafuka, Topallaj, no leak of tape on this one. It just feels extremely volatile. Yeah, I'll have to look into it again. Fleury versus Langer, yeah, again, another volatile fight. Fleury favorite, I guess it should be, but yeah, I don't know about that. Hendin Machaev, great fight, competitive. I don't know if I'm getting an edge. Dalisda versus Martin, yeah, should be the favorite. Holzer should be the favorite. Todev, I think Todev should be the favorite, but I don't know if I'll hate myself if I force it and he loses a decision. But he definitely has the upside, the youth upside here. Niko versus Torres, I have to look into this one some more. Coga, Racic, clear dog or pass. Just what's your risk tolerance? Kinsel, Kerim, I think this is a dog or pass as well. I think this is a dog or pass. And Ekeling, Jungwirth, yeah, I mean, for me it's a dog or pass, but the fight itself might be just a pass altogether. How volatile it is and two old guys. Pepe, sub, 20-1, thank me later. Hey, one of my favorite subs, Corey McKenna sub versus Amanda Granger. But I think that's how bad you have to be to get subbed by Corey McKenna. I don't know if Pilastri is that bad. I faded her against Knudsen. She does have bad takedown defense, but I don't think her jiu-jitsu is that bad, honestly. But hey, it's a Pepe special. Not gonna shit on 20-1. You never know. In honor of high-level octagon card, maybe you could give out your take on the ultra high-level late notice replacement fight on the UFC card. All right, you want the Tafa versus that random bum. So I'll do that. I'll do that because Tafa is a massive bum. Tafa is a massive bum. Sheen Sharaf. I was wondering who this Sheen Sharaf was, but I taped him for when he was when one of his bummy opponents was in Cage Warriors. Yeah, I mean, the under 1.5, juice to the tits, makes sense. Both of their paths are under 1.5, round 1 KO. Sharaf kind of looks slow down in some of these fights. So, but I mean, in a striking fight between the two of them, just a bit of a wild price on Tafa. I know people want fighters to wrestle to cover against Tafa, but if you watch his fight against this Fitial guy, and this is why I wanted to fade him against Walker, and I didn't because I'm a bum. Watch his highlights against Fitial, and tell me that he can't lose a striking fight to Sharaf, right? But he could be very durable, He could be very durable. Once he gets gassed, it's anyone's fight. This is anyone's fight. But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. I think Tafa could run through him in round 1. I think he's just a bit more explosive. He's proven that he can hurt tougher opponents. Sharif, just all bums. He was actually an underdog to this last guy that he fought. This El Torres, who looked like a bag of milk. So interesting what the regional bookies saw there. Ran through him. But yeah, dog a pass, and maybe start round 2. But you're just inviting trouble with that one. Hope that's a good breakdown for you, mate. I actually did tape it. Any chance to fade Tafa at massive juice? Yeah. A lot of training pics on social media with notable people. Sharaf, well, he's at a good gym. He's at Shin Sharaf. He's at Extreme Couture, right? I mean, man, you got to understand how bad Junior Tafa is. He said he was going to cut down to light heavyweight a few fights ago, and he just hasn't bothered. Like, this guy is a light heavyweight, natural light heavyweight, and he's just fat. He's awful. I don't know. Whenever I shit on Samoans or Maoris, my podcasts get a lot of views, and they just come at me. So maybe they'll find out where I live and kill me, but it's the truth. Some picks with Rico Verhoeven. I don't know, man. Local man shakes fist. What do you want to bet? You seem to be... you seem like you really want to fade Tafa, but... can't fault you, I guess. His cardio just doesn't seem good. That's my only issue. And he's coming on short notice. Let me have a look. The Smoke. The Smoke, Sheen Sharaf. Look at that body. If I was tough, I would get out of his way. I would pull out, honestly. All right. The further it gets past 300, the bigger my bet will be. Well, good luck, my friend. Fortune favors the bold, I guess. All right, everyone, like and subscribe. There's a slim chance I might actually do a UFC podcast, but we'll see how we go tomorrow. I've been flat out with life in general. But yeah, peace out.